Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome back. This is Force, and here today, we are going to be checking out Jotun. This is the alpha demo of the game. What is this game? Well, it's a hand-drawn action exploration game set in Norse mythology. In this title, you play as a character by the name of Thora. That's a tiny little dwarf character right there in the middle of the screen. She died an inglorious death, and you must defeat giant Norse elementals known as Jotun. Oh, here's a freaking synopsis right here. Why am I even telling it to you? You must defeat Jotun in order to enter Valhalla. Now, how do you defeat them? Well, it's simple. It's the gameplay loop basically consists of collecting these runes by solving puzzles or making it through various locations in the game, and this allows you to open up the area and fight against the Jotun, those giant Norse elementals. Now, here in this alpha demo, there are 2 locations available to me as well as a boss fight, and I'd like to just take you through those. I hopped in and tried this game out this morning, and I was very pleasantly surprised. So it's basically, it pulls inspiration from a couple of places, like all games do. You know, game development is quite the iterative process, but 2 of the mentioned titles for the inspiration for this game include the titles of Journey for the atmospheric exploration part of it, and then Shadow of the Colossus for the giant monolithic bosses that you fight up against. So again, very much so an exploration game. There is combat, but based on what I've played in the demo, the combat is only coming through these giant boss battles. And to get to the bosses takes a little bit of time. You basically have to make your way through these various locations and find and collect that rune. So what we're going to try to do here is we're going to do a little bit of exploring, nothing down this path. Going to do a little bit of exploring. We're going to find and fight the Jotun available here in the alpha demo, and hopefully just try to enjoy some of the gameplay. Now, there's not constant combat, as I mentioned. You're just fighting really against those big bosses. But just to give you an idea of what you will expect once we come across combat, we've got a little dodge roll here. We also have a light attack. And we have a heavy attack. Oh no, I need to find some safety. Oh, there it is, okay. So this particular zone, we've got these big blizzards that will sweep on through periodically, and we need to find our way to a nearby rock to take cover. And all those are clearly indicated by the blizzards on the northwestern face of them. Now, oh man. The atmosphere in this game is great. The music is great. In fact, why don't we just take a pause here to listen to some of that music while I continue exploring. Here you go. Enjoy. Now, you may have noticed there that because I was in the blizzard for a little bit too long, I took a bit of damage. So that's basically the gimmick of this area. And the different areas you come across will have different gimmicks. Let's see if I can make it up in here. Oh no, the blizzard's coming, so we're going to go ahead and head on back here. As long as I can make it there before it gets too intense like it is here, then I'm fine and I won't take that damage. So, exploration. What does this mean? Well, we're going to come into the different zones, and they've got the different gimmicks, like this blizzard. The second zone has another one that's actually really cool. I can't wait to show it to you. And we're just going to try to find not only the runes, so we are trying to collect these runes that allow us to go towards and actually fight the Jotun for each zone, but we're also getting these buffs that are coming from, I believe, what are Norse gods. I'm sorry, I'm not too keen. Well, not that I'm not keen. I like it. I think it's neat, but I'm not too savvy, I guess is the word that I want to use. I'm not too savvy when it comes to the Norse mythology, so I don't know all the things there are to know about it. Other than it's pretty freaking cool. And playing through this game, I got, I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just the soundtrack or something, but I was very reminded of the World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King expansion. Of course, if you guys will know, I'm talking about Northrend, and there's some Norse mythology inspiration there. So here's one of these buffs that I was talking about. And I believe this lovely lady is the speed buff. Yes, she is. So now notice in the upper left-hand corner, right underneath my health bar, there is a little buff. So these are the gods' powers. And you will find these various shrines to the different gods, and they will give you these powers. Now, this particular power is that speed buff that you saw, and I can activate it at any time. In fact, once this snowstorm is stopped, I'll do one again. So we just have to wait for this bad boy to pass, and then we can continue. Now, it's not just aimless walking around. This zone does have this staircase location that sort of acts like an Assassin's Creed tower, if you will, that will let you see the nearby vicinity. So we're going to try to find one of those. Let me go ahead and hit B, though, on my controller, and that, once again, will activate that power. And you will eventually get multiple powers, which will allow you to cycle through them. Like, besides the speed boost power, I eventually found a power that made it so that my heavy attack also included this giant hammer that came smashing down and obliterated my opponents. Oh yes, this hand-drawn art style is quite beautiful. Reminds me a lot, as I would expect because it's also hand-drawn, reminds me a lot of the Banner Saga title. And both of those very reminiscent of sort of the old school Disney, you know, the old school Disney movies, short films. I guess, so what would I specifically want to cite? Something like the old Robin Hood, if you ever seen any of those. I mean, I really like it. It's different from, you know, the pixel pushing stuff that is so much of what modern day video games are, trying to make things look as realistic and have as many pixels and as much lighting and bloom and blah, 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 blah. This is just like, hey, let's just do something that artistically has a, oh, here we go. Here's another one. Here's, this is actually the rune. This is the rune for this location, so we found it. Oh, excellent. There it is. So the area is a lot bigger than what we explored here, but we found the rune, which means we can press start to head back to the hub. But I would like to just explore a tiny bit more, because even though we've completed the quote objective of this zone, as I mentioned, it's a lot bigger than what we've seen. There is more to be spotted, and I'd like to just show you a little bit. At the very least, I'd like to take you to one of those towers that I mentioned, because in going there, you'll be able to see sort of how big this surrounding area is. So let's see if we can find one of those, huh? Let's keep exploring. And now you will notice the those god powers that I mentioned earlier in the upper left, the one that I have right now, of course, that's speed 1, that there's a number associated with that. So yes, every time you go into a specific, I'll call this just a zone, every time you go into a zone, you have a set number of those things, and you can eventually run out. However, once you go back to that main hub, then those are going to reset. So it's not like this is, I only have 3 speed buffs for the remainder of this game. It's just, while I'm in this particular snowstorm, hide behind rocks zone, yes, I'm almost, okay, there's a little tree right there. So let's actually head over there. Let's use our last speed buff here. How do we get, there we go. We're going to have to go down here. Get that going, just about there. That might be the last cover, so I do need to be careful. I think it's must be, oh no, let's go back to the cover before we get obliterated. Uh-oh. So yeah, we're all out of that speed buff, unfortunately. So, and as far as I can tell, that's going to be it until we go back to the hub, at which point it will reset. But let's go over, oh no, that's not it. I can't go any further. You can only walk on these fragmented rock pieces. You're not able to go anywhere else, unfortunately. But here we go. Little tree of life, which is going to extend my total health bar. So if you're paying attention to it, it did increase a little bit compared to what it was. And there's some stuff over here to the left-hand side as well. And I think we can take this small path. Yes, we can. There's a right to the right of me. That is one of those towers I was talking about. So if I make it over there, there we go. There it is. Okay, so we found this tower, the Assassin's Creed style tower, the Far Cry style tower. Tomb Raider even. We can climb it up, and there you go. There is the surrounding area. So we went up to the tree just basically north and slightly west to us. We also found the key far north. You can see far to the west there is one of those big guys. Now that indicates, in my experience, some sort of a big buff or something. So maybe we should try to head down there. So if I go down and I cut it to the west and I just keep going west, that we could find what's over there. Now once more, we don't need to. And in fact, for the sake of this video at this point, I feel like maybe we should just go back, yeah? Yeah, let's go ahead and just go back and head back to the hub. I just wanted to show you it to give you an idea of the type of things that you can see. And you'll notice here, this is the first zone that we went through. So this is the area that we did our exploration at. And the next one is this one that's just to the right. This is basically a map representation of the two zones available here in this little demo. So now we're going to go and head to the next area that we have to find the key. So notice how I got the refilling there of my speed buff in the upper left. So yeah, I have that available to use again as well. But now we're going to head on over to the next area. I also like the no load screens, but you'll notice a little bit of chugging there. That's basically the loading taking place in the background. Okay, so here we go. We are now at the lake. Oh boy, this lake, let me tell you guys. So this is going to be something similar, whereas I have to explore and try to find the rune. That's the game plan. We got to explore around, try to find the rune. There are also similarly going to be buffs like that speed buff that I got. There will be additional things like that in this area. Now this is a frozen lake. I don't know if you saw those little fishies swimming in the background. But there's also some perimeter action over here. So we can head on over into this direction. Oh no. That's no good. Alright, we're going to keep making it up here. I thought I was going to be able to cut it to the left, but unfortunately we weren't able to. So we got those little fishies swimming at us. Let's try to see. Uh-oh. What is that? What is that swimming down below? Down beneath us? What could it possibly be? No, let me tell you something. I almost crapped myself the first time I saw this. It's honest to goodness, pretty terrifying. It's what I love about, you know, these games like Shadow of the Colossus, just having these ginormous enemies to deal with. It can be very, it's just, when you got a game that does a good job of creating a sense of scale, which I feel this game does, and this is what I was looking for. This is what I wanted to show you. Look at this. How cool is this? That is the area that we were just exploring. So there you go. You'll notice the towers there. There's a couple of them right there. And actually there's another one just to the north, up due north. Just very cool. Very cool. They do a great job of creating a sense of scale with this game. Now what I'd like to do here is we're gonna hug the perimeter of this lake. Now that we found the westernmost edge, we're gonna hug the perimeter of this lake and try to see if we can pick up any God's blessing buffs. You know, I'm well aware, as I mentioned, that there's a few more down there that we missed. There was a potential for some additional buffs that we could have gotten, but I thought for the sake of this video, which the biggest thing is just for me to show you the game and give you an idea of what the game is going to be like. Because this morning, when I played this, I was like, this is great. I need to show this to people. And, you know, I've talked about it in the past, but just to reiterate, that's really what I try to do. I guess I can't go that way. That's really what I try to do with this Checkout series. I'm constantly handed various titles. And sometimes I pop them in within 5 minutes. I'm like, nope. But sometimes I'm like, this is neat. I'd like to show this to people. What? Look at him. The first time he actually broke through, it scared the ever-living bejeebus out of me. It was the most terrifying. Look at this too. Look at this beautiful background they have here. So this is where you can tell the obvious inspiration from a title like Journey. They're just trying to have these awesome set pieces. And I think just on the little bit I've seen, look at that little bird flying away too as I run by him. They're trying to have these set pieces that are sort of, we can use the word breathtaking. Obviously, any artist wants to create something that impacts people. So video game developers, especially, you know, not like the other ones don't, but something that is hand-drawn as well, they really want to create a nice feel, a unique world, and something that that really touches you. And boy, oh boy, that again, the sense of scale and the stuff like that. Here it is. This is the hammer, bro. Oh yeah, listen to the music. It picks up when you're about to discover something like this. Listen. Oh, what a great score. What a great score. All right, let's walk on over to this and get our buff. And you're going to see it in action, too. It doesn't use up a charge, but it displays to you what it'll look like. So here's our big hammer buff, and we can smash down. That's right. So it gives us a temporary charge. So this is going to be a much heavier hitting version of our heavy attack. You know, no combat yet because we're still in the exploration phase of that gameplay loop. So no combat at the moment. But the combat comes in those boss battles, and that's going to be coming up next. Once I find that rune, then that's the next thing on the agenda. We find the rune, and then we fight the Jotun. Oh, I love that music, though. So anyways, what I was saying was, a majority of the time, you know, I think it was different in the past. In the past, I just would make those checkout videos on just about anything. But really, I feel like the direction I should go is one of two ways with it. And the way it's been recently is, hey, this is something that I think is neat, and I would like you to see. That's how it's been for a few videos now. And then on the flip side, it can... Oh, God. Here he comes. Let's try to get off the ice. And on the flip side, it could also just be something that's like, hey, this is stupid and bad, so I want you to see it. But I don't know. Maybe we'll just make it so the checkout videos are always something that I at least think is interesting. You know, these are never reviews. It's not meant to be a ringing endorsement. Apologies to any game devs of any game that I cover. Because typically, these are games that are not released even. A lot of times it is alpha games, or sometimes I'll get access to a game prior to launch. Okay, here we go. Mimrom's head. Well, he heals you up. So I actually don't want to walk on that right now, because I don't have any lost health. But basically, I walk on that, and he opens his eyes and stares at you. It's very creepy. But then he heals you up, and you know, I don't really need to be healed up right now, so we're just gonna walk by. But there's another one. It's just another example of one of the gods that will buff you. So yeah, point being, checkout for a while now has been, this is interesting. Again, it's not a review. I'm not saying this is an A+ game, 5 stars, 10 out of 10. No, it's just there's something neat here that I'd like you to see. So just keep that in mind, you know. That's just something to consider. Something to consider. I'm going to keep on hugging this edge. I'd like to see if we have any other buffs. I'm always terrified because as soon as you see those fish following you, that also means that the sea monster isn't too far nearby. Now, I believe, please don't quote me on this, because I'm not 100% certain, but I believe that the game mentioned randomized levels. Now, it could be the case that in the alpha it is set. I think this is the starting location. I think we're actually, yeah, there's the smog right there. So that's leading me back to the hub. So I was reading about this game, and I recall reading the word random. What was that there? Is that the monster down low? So I think they're going to have randomized levels, but it could be the case that here in this demo, it's just set. And if that's the case, then I believe I know where the rune is, or at least I think I know where it could generally be located. So I'm just going to head basically towards the center of this lake, if that rings true. If my hypothesis rings true, which I do believe it does actually. I think the alpha version is pretty much set. But this is being on the open lake is well, as you saw earlier, something lurks here, and he doesn't appear to like visitors. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh! Yeah! Okay, good. So, no tower here, but when he pops up, you get a nice big look at the surrounding area. So I actually want him to come back again, if we could. Oh, I hear the noise. Oh no! Where? There it is. Rune's right over there. So let's walk by this guy. Now, I might be wondering, Forrest, why aren't you fighting him? Well, he's not the boss. He's not the Jotun we're looking for. He's basically the Blizzard of this level. The first zone's Blizzard is what he is. He's the environmental hazard that you have to watch out for. I was reading too that the game will have puzzles. We don't really see any of that here, but the game will have puzzles as well. Okay, so we found the first 2 runes. Excellent. Now it's time to fight the Jotun. Is this not what you have been waiting for? I suppose. But as you've seen, if you're just looking for that non-stop combat, that's not what this game is going to bring for you. It is very much so mostly exploring and enjoying the atmospheric. Ooh, that's some loading lag right there. It is mostly the exploration and the atmosphere that you would play a game like this for. The combat is just a little bonus at the end. So here are the gates to our first Jotun. Rune number 1 on the left. Rune number 2 on the right. And the doors open up. Look at that backdrop. The cosmos lay before us. How glorious. Now, let us go fight the Jotun. There it is. The door finally opens up. Winter Jotun's lair. Let's go fight him. It's finally time for combat. So I've got my speed boost, and I've got my little thunderstorm, my lightning thing here. Now here, this is Mimram's head. Again, he is the healing thing. I'll just go on him just to show you. So watch, it's gonna pop up. And then he just looks at you all creepy like, and his eyes follow you. Look at that. Mimir refreshes your spirit. Well, thank you. It's very nice of you. But you're kind of creepy, so I'm just gonna go this way. So we've got our giant hammer for our heavy attack, and we've got our speed boost, both of which will be very helpful here in this fight. Let's go find the Winter Jotun. I don't think there's much to this. It's just, I'm pretty sure it's just the one arena. I'm gonna follow the polar bear steps. There we go. A little heavy attack here. And then we say, Winter Jotun, wake up. And now here, obviously, this is where Shadow of Colossus comes to mind. This is the boss. His health is in the lower right. He has several mechanics that you have to play around. And you essentially, well, you just hit him until he dies. It's a straightforward concept. You guys have played video games before, right? So given that it's the first boss, and also given that it's an alpha boss, I guess I wouldn't expect it to be too challenging. I was a bit surprised, though, in my first playthrough just how easy it was, although it's not going to be easy if I keep missing those hits. So let's, we got to make sure we're dodging here. I'm just going to go with some light attacks, because the heavy attack has quite the wind-up. Okay, so there we go. And once he drops that, we're going to go ahead and, so I'm saving my big electric charge until he does... Oh, God, there, right there, right there. Oh, he usually stays in the ground longer. Uh-oh. Last time I fought him, he stayed on the ground for a while after he did that body slam. That seems, oh, I got hit. Took off a decent chunk of my health. I got one more electric slap, and then it's probably gonna go off cooldown now. It's probably gonna, yeah, there we go. It's no longer. Okay, so this is a good, oh no. Okay, that's his charge. There's his charge attack. He also has his Winter's Breath, and I think that's it. There it is. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this, and get a couple hits while he's breathing around here. So big chunks out of his health when we get this little buff. And then he's gonna fall down. I think this one he might, yeah, he'll stay down for a second. So I'm surprised he didn't stay down last time. Maybe it's because I didn't hit him during it. And now we got him to 50% health, so he changed his phases. What's changed? Well, the ground now is slippery. You notice my character is not really moving around very well. She kind of slides, and so it's basically we got ice now to contend with. But he is pretty low. So we're gonna have him soon, and he hasn't really done much to our health. I haven't even had to use the speed buff so much, so I think this is his charge. Yeah, there it is. Oh gosh. Is that his charge? Ouch. You know what, actually? I may very well die here. That charge did a lot of damage to me. Okay, never mind. We should be good. Alright, let's see if we get a couple hits off of this. Oh gosh. He's about to fall. There we go. Okay, go, 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 Dennis, come on, you got your charge, go. Oh, yeah. I was actually very concerned that we were about to just die. But we were successful. Winter Jotun has been defeated. All right, my friends. Well, that is the game. Thank you so much. We're going to go back to the menu. I already left feedback. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed checking out Jotun, the alpha demo. Once again, this is an action exploration game set in Norse mythology. So this was funded via Kickstarter and went through Steam Greenlight last year. And it is planned for release in September 2015. I'm interested to see a bit more of it. I would like, I guess, a couple of things. I'd like some more puzzles. We didn't really get to see that in the 2 levels we had access to. It was basically just walk around until you find the rune. So I'd like to see the puzzles. I'd like to see some more in-depth boss fights. But I love the art. I love the music. I love the sort of atmosphere that's built with those 2 things combined. On one hand, you could say, well, the game could use a lot more combat, but that's not what they're trying to do. Again, it's much more akin to Shadow of the Colossus, where long periods of downtime as you find your way to the boss, and then a big epic boss battle. So as long as those epic boss battles are indeed epic, then it'll be pretty good. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll put any pertinent links in the video description below. Hope you have a fantastic afternoon. I'll see you later.